Welcome to Cory's Conscious Living.
Hi friends, just a quick message. If you are enjoying the content of this channel and you think you would like to take the time to support me, anything is appreciated, even $1 a month if you want to. Check out the link down below. Patreon. Thank you. Namaste and enjoy your meditation.
Are we ready to meditate with Cory? Make sure that you're laying down, you're comfortable, you're ready to try and be still and quiet so you can listen to the story. You can have your eyes wide open if you want to, or you can close your eyes. It's up to you. Just know that if you start to feel tired and sleepy, it's best to go ahead and close your eyes. Julian had been over at his friend's house and he was walking home. There was a trail with a path and some trees on either side, and he'd never actually gone home that way before. For some reason, on this particular day, he decided that maybe it was a shortcut and he wanted to get home. He wanted to get home because he was hungry and he wanted his dinner. Shortcuts sounded really good at that time. So he decided to go down the path with the trees on either side that looked very bright and very open, nothing too scary or anything like that, just the perfect kind of shortcut. Julian was walking down the path for quite some time before he realized that the path started to change. It got a little bit more like a dirt path and it became more narrow, and then before he realized, it looked like the path was just barely a path. And there were more and more trees, and it felt like he was going deeper into a forest rather than coming out of the snicket onto a main road and hopefully being closer to home. He was okay with this at first. He figured he was on an adventure, nothing to be too scared about. But the forest got deeper and deeper and thicker and thicker. And before you knew it, Julian was getting just a little bit anxious. Julian really didn't like to be alone. This was one of his issues. He liked to be around people. He was okay being around friends. He was okay being around family, anyone. He liked being in crowds. He wasn't one of those people that liked to be alone and do things alone. He was more of a people person. So to be stuck in the forest alone like this was part of what he was getting anxious about. Really don't like being alone. There's something scary about being alone, he thought. It's like no one's there. And you feel really lonely and it's quiet, and then you get to start to think about all the what ifs. What if a monster comes? What if someone breaks into the house? What if a big giant dinosaur decides to come and get me? All of the what ifs can be very, very scary. He was trying really, really hard to focus on staying on the path and looking through the trees and seeing if he could find an opening off in the distance. But the what ifs started to get louder and louder in his head. It felt like he'd been in the forest forever. By now he was in a pretty fearful, scary place. He was thinking about all the creatures that could possibly come out of the woods and eat him. Maybe strange people were in there waiting to get him. You hear all sorts of nightmare stories when you're a child, and who knows what could happen. You do have to be really, really careful. The world isn't full of nice people, unfortunately. Sometimes there's not so nice people out there in the world. Julian heard a crack, and then he saw something move in one of the trees. He stood. He froze. He became really, really still. Still, like a statue. Quiet. But he wasn't trying to be still like a statue to listen to a story for meditation. Julian was frozen still with fear. Poor Julian. And then from behind the tree came a girl. She had a long, white, flowing dress on, and her hair was long and blonde and curly. At first, Julian rubbed his eyes. He thought maybe it was a girl, but then he rubbed and double rubbed. He thought maybe it was an angel. She looked just like an angel because she had like a halo of light around her head. Her whole body and her dress and the space around her seemed to glimmer and shimmer in the light. She walked towards him. She said her name was Kiana, and she was there to help. You don't have to worry about being alone, Julian. I know this forest very well. Are you trying to get out? Said Kiana. Yes, said Julian. He was trying to hold back the fear and panic in his voice. I've been looking for a way out for the longest time, and I really just don't know which way I'm going, and all the trees seem to look the same, and the path kind of disappeared on me, and I'm hungry, and I don't... He was hesitant to say it, but he said it. I don't like being alone. I have a fear of being alone. Kiana walked closer and said, it's okay. You're not alone now. I'm right here with you. And in fact, Julian, you've never been alone since you stepped foot into this forest. Watch. She made the strangest noise. It was like a noise from the back of her throat, like a caw or a bird sound, like a screech. It was very, very, very beautiful and loud. It seemed to be like vibrating through the whole forest. All of a sudden, there seemed to be lots of movement all around, and once again Julian stood still, very still, clenched his fists and froze as if he was in it. Did he have to protect himself? What was going to happen? But then he took a breath and he looked at Kiana, and she looked so calm, so sweet. He trusted her. He felt comfortable with her. He took a deeper breath, breathed all the way down to his tummy, and told himself to relax. It's okay. There were rabbits, squirrels, birds, caterpillars, ladybugs, inchworms, moles, badgers, deer, you name it, all starting to come and create a circle. All around them, a circle of nature. The rabbits were by Kiana's feet. They were so cute. She had some birds on her arms and her shoulders, and she had the biggest smile. She looked deep into Julian's eyes and said, see? You were never alone. And all of these animals are friends. They would have shown you the way if you only knew how to listen, to be still and quiet, to talk to them. Oh, and you have all of these friends too. And at that point she made a different noise. This noise seemed to come deep down from the root of her spine, deep down from the base of her tummy, and she kind of roared. roar echoed through the trees, and the trees seemed to respond. Their branches got more active, their leaves got louder, as if they were coming to life to her voice. Ajna looked at Julian and said, "See? All you need to know is how to speak to them. The trees are alive. They can hear you, and they're always, always there to help. They would have shown you the way." Julian stood still. He looked around and looked at the animals and looked at their faces. She was right. They all seemed very friendly, eager to help in any way they could. The trees all seemed to kind of coven over and make an arch, as if they were hugging over them and protecting them. They felt friendly. He reached out and touched the bark of a tree, and it was almost as if its heart was beating underneath his hand, and he could feel the tree taking a breath, a big, deep breath into its roots, into the earth, and then breathing out and spreading the beautiful, fresh oxygen all around the world. He felt it all in his hand. He'd never been that conscious or aware before. How could something so impressive, how could something so fantastic, amazing, be happening all around him in the woods earlier, and all he felt was fear? Fear took over his entire body. Fear in his mind, creating monsters and scary things, where really he was surrounded by nature and life and friends. And it wasn't till Ajna showed him that he almost took off his sunglasses and started to see the woods, the forest around him in a completely different light. When he did this, things got lighter and brighter. He felt happier, less fear. Very big comparison to the dark, scary, horrible, lonely forest that he was in just a few minutes ago. They started to walk, all of the animals, some flying, some crawling, some walking very quietly next to them. They had the opportunity to look into the eyes of some of the animals. There was a deer walking next to him, and it was as if when he looked, he could see the deer's soul. He connected. His breath joined with the deer's breath. He felt every step the deer was making. He realized that the deer, the trees, the insects, everything in this forest was part of him. It was all connected to him. The trees breathed like he did. They breathed out. They breathed in. They felt the earth like he did. The animals ate and lived and breathed and wanted to be alive like he did. It all woke up inside of him. Everything is an aspect of who we are. The earth, the trees, the land, other people, other planets, other animals are all part of me, Julian thought. The trees started to get thinner. The forest got even lighter. The path got stronger and clearer. And he kept walking towards the light. And it got more and more open to the point where he could definitely start to see houses and streets and cars. took a few steps, and then everything seemed to go very quiet. He stopped quickly and turned around and looked to the left, to the right, up, down, everywhere. He was alone, once again, completely alone. At first he felt a glimmer of sadness in his tummy, and he hunched a little bit and took a breath like it hurt that no one was there with him anymore. But then he took another breath and he connected, and he realized once again, just like Ajna said, that he wasn't alone. Even if he couldn't see anybody, even if he couldn't feel anybody, even if he couldn't see animals or trees, he was never, ever alone. Julian walked home, found his way quite easily. Once he got to the street, he recognized where he was. He went home, had his dinner, went to bed, went to sleep, woke up, went to school, went home, had his dinner, and carried on with life as if everything was normal. And it was, except Julian wasn't normal. Julian had changed. Julian would never be the same. The end. Now, my little friend, it's time for you to snuggle down even deeper into your bed, to lay and think about the story and realize you're never, never, ever, ever alone. Even if it feels like you're alone, you're always connected to the rest of the earth. Always, always, always. Time for bed, sleepyhead. Let your whole body relax. Your mind slows down. Your breath slows down. Your heart beats more peacefully in your chest. Just relax and let go. Let your whole body relax and let go. Just imagine you're sinking deeper and deeper into a big, soft